Oh, because he was out for. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for your patience. Um, I'm trying to do something new today. After last week's fiasco, that lipstick on my teeth. After last week's fiasco and not being able to save that live, I was so disappointed because I felt like it was such a good conversation. And then to not be able to retrieve it, that was like, oh, gut wrenching. Yeah. So I was only able to retrieve the last 20 minutes, which we kind of, went live again that last 20 minutes. So unfortunately, it didn't save, which I'm so disappointed. Like, I've been in my feelings about it. I feel like it was just such a meaty conversation, and it just really. um yeah, but anyway, we're gonna get right into it. Thank you everyone for joining. So I got a double whammy for you this week. And while this is Latonia Francois. I like backstories. Welcome everybody. Latonia. While Latonia does not have any direct ties to the sickle cell community, so you're not going to hear a sickle cell story. But what you will hear is a story of a mom and a woman, daughter, wife, that has many struggles like the rest of us. And you've had some trials and testimonies, and you've come on top of it, and you've since then use have been using your pain. You've turned your pain into purpose. So this is Latonia Francois. She's a personal development strategist and owner of a journaling, and it's more than journaling, but journaling is part of it, which we'll get into. But it's a really you can go into it more, but a development. A, she helps women find their purpose. Um, so but backstory as to why she's here and why. So first and foremost, I've known Latonia for most of our adult lives at this point. We met as young babes in Christ. In our early 20s, she was newly married, and we've just always had this friendship that spanned through the years, and it's more of like not a super intimate relationship, but there's a special love and a deep sisterly and just a love in Christ that we have a wonderful relationship. And after we lost touch for a little bit, but we've always kept in touch over social media. I go back and forth with social media. Sometimes I'm not a fan, sometimes I like it. So I don't always get a chance to catch up as much. And I had taken a long hiatus at one point, and when I came back, um, Latonia's page was one of the first things that I saw, and she was just being so transparent about mental health, some of the things that she has gone through in her personal life with motherhood and marriage. And because I had known her for so long, but then again, you use known loosely. Sometimes you think, oh, you know what a person is like until you hear their story and you hear their heart, and you start to peel the layers that I've been talking about. And you realize, like, wow, we're more interconnected than we know. And for me, in that time, so this is 2020, 2021. You were one of those people that was, without even knowing, you were pouring and pouring into me through the content, through your page, through your inspirational messages. You had no idea, and I don't even think I've shared this with you before, but I might have shared some. But you are one of those people that have been so inspirational to me. And for me, I didn't always find hope within the sickle cell community, to where I felt the need that I needed to create a space to give that to other people. But you were one of those people that were providing me with that hope in my own affliction. So I thank you for that. I thank you for your transparency. Um, and for just allowing the Lord to use your story to pull the next woman up and then catapult them to their own purpose so that they can pull the next person up. Because we pull as we rise. I don't believe on stepping on people. I don't believe on gatekeeping information, funds, good resources, gems, like all of you women that I've had on recently, like the more that I plan on bringing on. Um, so yeah, you, that's why I wanted you to come on, but then we share other similarities that kind of piled onto that. But in addition to that, before I go in and have her tell you a little bit more about her, Latonia is actually one of the, I'll say, the person that gave me that kick. She is actually the kick that has that, and why we are here. So again, over the last 2 years, she's been pouring into me without knowing. And September of last year, again, I was off and on social media. I had taken a break for like a year. I didn't go on, not to look, not to browse, not to check for comments, nothing. And then September of 2021, out of the blue, I knew that I needed to do this. I had gotten the business name, gotten the LLC, have my domain name. I have everything. I have a handle, have everything, but like still a little trepidatious to get going. And I had started to feel that stirring in my spirit. And one day I'm at the gym, and one September, fateful September evening, I'm at the gym and something said, go check your messages on Instagram. I never check messages. I'm horrible. So I'll say that here, to all people. It's nothing against you. If you sent me a message, I promise I'll get back to you. But I don't allow technology to control my time to the point where sometimes I forget. I get a little absent and I forget. So I apologize, but I promise you I'll get back to you. But all that to be said, it had been months since I checked this inbox, and then lo and behold, as soon as I open it, your message pops up. And I think you were having an event like a day or two after. I had a board. It was the next day because I had a board meeting that night, and I'm like, and I see it, and it's a vision night. We're going to talk about, and just your idea of vision night was different. I wish I had it down here. Or I would show it, but we were going to put everything in this bucket, and I I saw that analogy, and I saw everything that I was putting in, and I saw everything that was coming out, but didn't think much of it. So I was like, I have to make a point to get to this event. Beyond that, I'm like, she's invited me to so many things. As I looked at the messages, I'm like, oh my God, she's invited me so many times and I've never attended. So we go to this dinner. I'm thinking we're going to, I don't know what I thought. I just thought it's not what I thought. Okay. So we go, it turns out to be this beautiful dinner with about 14, 16 other ladies. And we began, it was just us sharing what was on our hearts and what our desires were, what we were feeling stuck at. I left there so full, and from that day on, I'm like, I don't care what I do. I know that there's people out there that's waiting on me, and here I am waiting for everything to be perfect, or to feel confident enough, or to feel like, I have it all together, or like I've mastered it all before I can put it out there. And you guys, you put you deposit so much in me, and you spoke words that the Lord used you guys to confirm things that he was already telling me, things that I was in my head about, because I need to be perfect before. So all that to say, thank you. So welcome, Latonia. This is Latonia. So and then she's going to expand, but she'll tell you who she is, and then we'll kind of get into it, and then we'll really like understand why she's here and how she can help you and provide hope for you.
what passion will motivate you to do.
That is true.
Passion and purpose will motivate you to go, step on faith, and be called out to do what God wants you to do, even if you don't understand it.
Agreed.
So I'm just
I'm gonna move this.
to you over here. You said a lot of things, Elsa. You said a lot in that little intro. Like, wow. You know, we can all look back at 2020 and just kind of remember and know where we all were.
Mm-hmm.
I was literally, you know, coming into January, getting ready for my maternity leave. I could see myself walking through the mall with my iced coffee. I don't even drink iced coffee, but I saw that cup in my hand with my baby stroller, just kind of living my best life on maternity leave. And then February 2020 comes, and I have the baby. He basically,
which is an interesting story in and of itself. Which you're gonna kind of gloss over it, but
Listen, I was about to say he had his own epic life story that invaded mine, overseeded mine, and just began through mine with his car burst at Home Depot in the backseat of my car, and then you know that just kind of like went all over the airways. His grand entrance to life, and then the very next week is when COVID hit and the pandemic set in and everything shut down.
You were literally just on maternity leave.
Yeah, the next week, and I was so grateful because the hospital shut down too. Like, no more family could come in. And I was so grateful that I was in and out of there.
He knew what he was doing.
So I could be there with my family. And then, you know, we got on out of there, and then boom, everything kind of shut down. But right after that, you know, the next months, years, our whole entire world changed as we knew it. Our lives changed. Everything changed. And it felt like a repeat of one of the darkest times of my life. And so what you shared with me just now was that in the moments that I was thinking, this is when the world needs me. This is when the women need journaling. This is when women need healing and hope. And I couldn't be there. I couldn't show up because I was mentally, emotionally, and physically not able to after having that baby in the car. So the little bit that I got online, which I did eventually get online when the social injustices began, and I was just like, no, enough is enough. I need to like share my story and be there and speak the hope, speak light into dark places, because it got really heavy.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it and come back to 2020. Like I shared some of the things that you discussed, which we're seeing more. I feel like it's more acceptable and more talked about, much like sickle cell, and this is very much a part of the sickle cell community, is the mental health aspect. So where I found comfort and hope in what you were sharing is that, and I think in some ways hearing your story made me realize my own, is that you were sharing your mental health struggles with depression. And I can honestly say now that in retrospect, I was functioning. I had no choice. I had a child, had a career, had a demanding career that I had to like be on top of. So like I couldn't be in a funk all day, but any downtime, I was not myself. I was not myself in my downtime. When I actually had time to think, I didn't want to. I wanted to keep busy so I didn't have the opportunity to feel, to be in the space that I really have been in, or had been in, that I'm like, was completely unfamiliar to me. So do you mind sharing that struggle and how you got there and what got you to the point where you felt that you wanted to share your story to help someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually about to say, with you saying and sharing how what I was sharing at that time was giving you hope is almost like a gift that it's like a gift right now to me that it was kind of like, wow, didn't expect that because at the time I was in a dark place.
Taking
And
care of you.
I was like, I'm going to just say what I'm feeling so anybody who hears can relate. And I didn't think I was enough. I didn't think I was making any difference. So to hear you saying this to me now, you're basically changing what I thought. You're changing what I even believed about that moment in my life right here on this live. Because up until now, I look back and I was like, I was unplugged. I couldn't. And now you're basically validating that, Latonia, you always have been enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because this is how the enemy will try to block you from your purpose. Look
Talk
at this.
about it.
It's almost 3 years later. And had we not be talking right now, I would still think, that year. But let me tell you.
But this isn't just 3 years. We're entering year 4. Because it was March of 2020, 2021, 2022. Now it's March 2023. We're going into year 4. This is routine at this point. We're not going back. There's no going back. This is the new norm. Let's get used to it. Let's dive in. You were gonna say, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there.
Finish. I promise you, I'm gonna answer your question. But what I was gonna say was, it was a moment. That was the moment where God literally used that pain for His purpose. He used the darkness, the breakdown, for the breakthrough of where I am now. Now, I already went through a breakdown moment before, which is what started Let's Write Life.
Talk about it.
Was like another moment in my life where it was just kind of like, okay, God, now what? Now what? Like, I literally had half my dreams because 2020, I also had just opened the Anya house. Like, I purchased a house, and a whole space in my house was meant to empower women. It was furnished, it was set up, events were happening, and it was a dream come true. And that also was kind of like a
snuffed out.
What was that?
Yeah.
Did I fail? Was I going the wrong way?
So how did you get to the point where Anya House? Oh, I'm sorry. No, I said, how did you get to the point where Anya House became the focus and you were looking to empower other women, or you knew you wanted to empower other women?
Yeah, I always knew it. So I'll say, like, for Let's Write Life, for those of you who aren't aware or don't know, so Let's Write Life is a personal development company for women. It's a company I started to empower women through journaling. So I run a personal development program all year round using journaling, helping women to understand who they are, what their visions are, what is that next stage of life they want to pursue, and I give them the strategies to achieve that vision. So for me, my vision has always been to empower women. But along the way, I've been doing this for like 9 years now, and over the last 5 or for the whole time, really, until I bought my house, I have been running programs on other properties, in other schools, in other locations, at other retreat centers, other places to build up Let's Write Life and to build my program. But at one point, I always knew I needed to have my own space, which I had my own space pre-COVID I had my office, and then I was hosting stuff at my office as well. But some things just I couldn't do at my office. So when I purchased my house, it was already a part of that vision that I already knew with Let's Right Life that I was going to have a space for women, and we literally purchased our house knowing that that was going to be the case.
That's awesome. How did you get started with Let's Write Life? Because it's expanded.
Yeah, Let's Write Life started from my breakdown moment with my mental health. So for many, many years, I struggled with depression. And for a long time, depression is it can be a complicated thing, especially when you go so many years not facing it, I guess. I had depression from my adolescence all the way up into adulthood.
Wow.
So anybody would ask me, where, like, once I started Let's Write, like, where did that depression start for you? Or, how did you know that you could fix it or change it or cure it? I had to start with first understanding what was the cause of it. And it used to be so hard for me because mentally, my brain, as almost like a defense mechanism, erased a lot of the pain that I went through. If you want to know how I was able to go back and understand my pain and my traumas, journals. I would read my journals and I would see things that I didn't even realize were issues or that I had removed from my mind because my brain just blocked it out so that I wouldn't be so hurt anymore.
Yeah. So you said your depression started at adolescence. Did you know at that time that it was depression, or you knew something was wrong, didn't have the words for it? Or is it like me, like in retrospect, looking back, these things as you learn? So what was that experience like for you? Like, did you know, or again, was it in retrospect that you can say it's been since adolescence?
Yeah, I knew.
Okay. And you had a name, you could say that I'm depressed? And you had like you had words for it that you can say I'm depressed?
I knew.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew I was depressed. And the reason why I knew I was depressed and I knew what being depressed was is because if I ever showed weakness or sadness around the people that I loved and cared for and wanted them to love and care for me, they would tell me that that's what that was.
Okay. So others were already pointing it out to you.
Hide it and block it out and be ashamed of it and try to live without it, be strong without it. I tried to avoid it and not be depressed. I didn't want to be what other people saw as a problem. I used to be the crybaby of the house. I used to hide those parts of me. And the more I removed those parts of me, the worse I was getting. To the point where sometimes you wake up and you don't even know who you are because you have lived your life removing parts of yourself to be what everybody else wants you to be, or to live the way everybody else lives.
Talk about it.
The way everybody else is happy. And meanwhile,
you're suffering.
You're here not happy.
Yeah.
You have to hide it behind closed doors because these people you want to love you and accept you don't want those parts of you.
Yeah, you have to be somebody else in order for them to love you. Meanwhile, it's like, that's not even me. You like this version of me that you think I am.
And you wake up one day and you're like, how the frick did I get here? When it gets so bad, years go on, like I got married, I had children, and you start to see things that is just kind of like emptiness. And it just spirals. It's like a tangle of all these things. things. Like, it's not one thing. It wasn't one thing for me.
Yeah.
It was like, it started as like rejection.
Got a lot of people that can relate.
And then it turned into my own lack of confidence because I was not feeling sure of myself.
Yeah.
Or liking myself because of friends that I had, and the boys liked them more than they liked me. And so I started to hide myself, not getting into makeup, not being feminine because I wanted to hide under a hoodie. I was a hoodie girl. I was just like totally confused. And my husband loved me through that. I knew that was love, but inside of our relationship, there still ended up being problems because I didn't even know how to accept love.
Talk about it.
Accept the love he was giving me because I only knew the love from those idiot boys and men that wanted my friends, and I thought that it wasn't real. And so, because of the way I grew up, I didn't get the love that I wanted. I thought I had to be something else. And then this guy, I mean, it just spiraled and spiraled. So I'm into my work career. So it's like this thing that just built and built and built. I go into my work career, and then I don't like my career.
Now, let me ask, before you get into career, did it present itself in any way, like during the college years? Like, if it did, how did it present itself? Because those are difficult moments, especially when you're away from home, added responsibilities. Like those are the formidable years in some ways, especially when, like those college years. How did it present itself during the college years? And if it did, how so, and how did you handle it? And then you can go into career, because then I think that might tie into.
Yeah. When I think about my college years, I'm going to say I blocked it out. My college years, I really blocked out my depression. There wasn't a time when the triggers were so much, and maybe it was because I was removed from my environment. When I was in college, I actually went in like, this is who I am. It was like I actually embodied a new identity.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna be really transparent. And not that
I hope so, because I don't want anything less. Respectfully.
When I went to college, I literally went in as a Jamaican. Like, I was striking my Jamaican felt like 3% Jamaican. Like, remove distant family relatives.
Let's write life.
So when I went to college, I was like, you know what? I'm a new person. No one here knows me. I want to be who I want to be.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'll say, like, college years, I really blocked that life out. So it wasn't until after college. So after college was when 9/11 was going on. And I really didn't have my career figured out. I didn't have a job lined up. And so I went into human resources, which I liked.
Sorry. You got a call. Yeah. Here, right? Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh my gosh, you don't need another thing going on.
No, not today. And I'm going to keep an eye on my battery because, girl, again, I'm still in my feelings about it. I have anxiety. No, let's move on.
Oh my gosh, I know. I'm seeing a little bit of the comments, but I hope you got this is resonating with everybody.
It sounds like it, and it's not just the women; the men can relate too. And mental health, it's not a gender thing. It's not a race thing. It's a human condition. So then you were going to talk. You were going to mention your career before I asked about college. You were going to say how it manifested in your career.
Yeah. Oh Lord.
In human resources.
Yeah, I really loved that. I really loved that job. But I have to say, that was the
I think it was around the same time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you probably can remember this
Oh,
period of time.
girl, I got my own traumas.
And so all of these kind of life changes started happening for me.
Mm-hmm.
Where this felt like depression was rearing its ugly head in my life again.
Mm-hmm.
I became pregnant with my second daughter. And I ended up leaving the job. I got laid off. That's what happened. I got laid off because the company merged and the acquisition kind of took out my HR department. And so I was laid off. And so I found myself back at home. I was pregnant. And I'm saying to myself, how the heck did I get here? That was that moment for me where I literally spoke those words like, how the heck did I end up here? And I was financially struggling. I was struggling financially. And I was alone. I had a friendship that for so many years was so good. And then it just kind of turned a little toxic. My mom and I, our relationship was turning toxic. Relationships began to
erode.
And that was affecting me because I felt like nobody could understand what I was going through. I had to go back into the shell of acting and pretending again.
Yeah.
And I was sick of it. And so at that moment, my daughter, Tyra, my older one, it was her birthday coming up. And I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. My phone was literally off. I couldn't even reach anybody if I wanted to. And I was looking at my phone and I was like, okay, I got to figure this out. What am I going to do for her birthday? So I ended up getting on my bike. I was literally maybe 6 months pregnant. Getting on my bike, putting her on the back of the bike, and going for a bike ride through DW Field Park.
Oh, I love DW.
And I said, you know, I'm going to make this the best day she ever had. So we go on this bike ride, we go back to the house, I give her like a bunch of my clothes and shoes, and I just throw them on her, put them in a pile, so she's there dressing up, and we're just having a good time. And I end up just reflecting on that day, and I will tell you, that day was the day that my breakdown became my breakthrough moment.
Talk about it.
Moment that changed my entire life to where I am today, talking to you, from a point of feeling like giving up on myself, wanting to commit suicide.
Talk about it.
Because there was no more hope. But in the midst of that dark time, I looked at my phone on that day, and it was the first time I had felt joy in months.
Wow.
It was the first time I saw what joy looked like to me. Not anybody else's joy, not anyone else's happiness, but my happiness. And from that moment, I said, I need to hold on to this. I need to figure out what this is. I want more of this. And I started journaling. I have been journaling my whole life. I want to share this with you guys. You guys can journal your whole entire life. And you may never experience change. But let me tell you, what you write makes a difference.
It does.
What you think makes a difference. Where you see your life going makes a difference, and that's what changed for me.
Talk about it.
And when I learned that about journaling, I started learning who I was, learning how to build my life, reclaim my life again, rewrite my life. And I told myself, I'm going to tell as many women, share this journey with as many women as possible, that they can rewrite their life too. It took me a year on this journey of journaling in that way, because people ask me, how do you know when you made it, you're not depressed anymore? How did I know I was depressed? So I'll say that I knew I was depressed because I had no more hope. I wanted to end my life, and I attempted it, and it didn't work. Thanks be to God. And I used that moment of joy to move my life forward. I didn't know it was going to take a year for my healing and the changes that I wanted to happen. everyone a get quick answer and not go through the questions, not go through the healing, not go through the reflection, the period of pressing and hard work and the tears at night to get to the healing they need. They just want to answer and heal, like, oh, drink this lemon juice and you're done. Oh, write a page about this prompt. It's not like that. So I that journey and I learned how to become the best of me. And so I knew that my life had changed when I no longer felt the pain of my past anymore.
Wow. Woo.
I knew that my life had changed when the things that bothered me no longer bothered me. I knew that my life had changed when I could be strong enough and hold a real honest conversation with someone who was going through what I went through without breaking
down. Yeah.
I knew I was strong enough to walk in this new purpose that God had given me. I knew that this was the answer to my prayer, because I used to sit in church and I would hear people going through things and I would say, God, I can help that person. Why was my life so like useless and worthless? And then boom, I feel like I almost prayed for the pain that happened to me. But then look at how God turned everything that I had went to into me learning how to pick up that pen and write. It had nothing to do with what I went to school for. It had nothing to do with me trying to impress anybody or be a certain thing. It had everything to do with me choosing me and learning how to save my life when nobody else was going to do it. And through that, here I am.
And what was so? And I'm big, and this is so we'll share the similarities because I too, and I've shared this with you before. I've always kept a journal for as long as I can remember. Even as a little girl, I always kept a journal. I didn't always write in it, and it was like a Dear Abby kind of journal type of thing starting out. But then I don't know at what point, but I've always, actually I take notes everywhere I go. It's not just journaling. I'm a note taker. My mind is always racing, and one of the things why I find writing things down is important, as much as we think we're going to remember something, you're not. And I don't want to make it like it's an age thing, but as you age and you get more responsibilities, the less space you have to keep like all these little things. So I'm big on writing. So everywhere I go, whether we are going on a dinner date, if you say something that I find important, I'm writing it down, putting a date next to it. And sometimes I may even make a note of why I wrote that down. Even in my career, I'm always that person. Elsa got notes. Elsa's a note taker. And in meetings, so they're always asking me, like, I'm the one taking copious notes because I like to go back. Sometimes I feel like I like to sit and reflect with things and just like mull over them, which is another reason why I like to write. So I like to go back and kind of reflect. And so again, for as long as I can remember, and I keep my journals. So I still have a box what I shared with you back in September. So I sold my house in end of 2020. So in packing the house and moving everything over, I found my box of journals. But more importantly, the amount that I have written since my son was born. I don't even have one right next to me. I literally have journal pics. I'll put it in my story so you guys know I'm not lying. Oh, you can check my personal page. I think like last year. I encourage it. I love it. But over the last 7 years, journaling, but funny enough, I'll get back to that. But over the last 7 years, writing things down, whether you want to call it journaling or not, writing things down, whether it's again notes from work, scripture. I use it for to take notes at church, notes when I'm meeting with friends, assignment, prayer requests. notes at the doctor's. It helps me to stay on track, but more importantly, or one of the, for me at least, it's helped me to go back and see some of the promises that God has said and the things that He's come through on. Because then at the times when you're kind of down and you're feeling like, oh, I'm just feel hopeless, like, God, you're just not going to come. Where are you, Lord? You can go back and see, wow, He came through then. He's going to come through again. So that's the thing that I absolutely love about journaling. And then more recently, which is what I was going to say earlier, because so sickle cell had definitely, it's one of those things that like sat me down at the Lord's feet. I did not know where else to turn. So God, it was where I was at. So there was a lot of writing, and I have like notebooks this thick, like at least just in 2020, I think I completed like 5 or 6 notebooks just in 2020. So I was writing. I have books in me. I'm an author, a writer for sure. An author, maybe some, I'm speaking it out, putting it out there. No, I do. There's a book in me somewhere. There is. I'm putting it out there. New York, New York Times best-selling author. You heard it here first. Don't worry, I have many, many hurdles in life I can relate to. I love these convos. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad. And I love that, like, you're sharing your experience too. So where was I? I lost. I do this too. Like I get excited and go left. But hey, that's the point of candid conversations, right? We would normally go left if we was having these discussions. Oh, so why I love journaling. But the thing is, because I had spent, well, not because, but so in this space where I'm like, oh my God, Lord, I know you want me to do something. I know you want me to serve the sickle cell community, but how? Like, all I have is this, all I've done is just work in the corporate space. Like, what can I bring here? And it's like, well, you can bring a lot more. But that's besides the point. And really, that before I came to your not retreat, the invitation in September, that's where I was, and like just not sure. It's like, all right, Father, what next? Tell me. I'm waiting, almost like I'm waiting for Jesus to come down in the white robe from the skies, like, hey, Elsa, I'm here with your answer. Like, I'm weird. Like, there's a song playing in my head all the time. Don't mind me there. But I don't know what I was expecting. But one day it was as simple as, I've been giving you instructions for 7 years. Why don't you go back and look at your notes? I was like,
that part.
Girl, all of 2021, mind you, for years, and definitely consistent for the last since 2015, 2021, I barely wrote. I just wrote my own thoughts. I literally took notes from sermons, notes from inspiration here and there, but I had to go sit with what I had already written. And here we are. And I've discovered some things that I'm like, I'm so glad I wrote that down. Even the very dream or the very reason why and how I knew it was the time, like I had gotten that okay to leave that corporate job. Like, mind you, I prayed for that for 3 years. He kept saying it's time, and they were like, no, stay back. But he had a purpose even in that. And that's a story for a whole nother time. But in 2020 July, it was like, it's time, it's now. And again, as subtle as just that piece, mind you, he didn't tell me to leave with like a whole plan and things ready for me to go. And I'm sitting here like, Lord, I have a child. He has a condition. I need insurance. I have another child who's in college. Like, I have a house. I have a mortgage. I have car payments. I have this. I have that. Can you trust me? But am I your provider? Can you trust me to provide if you did not know for certain where the source is, but you trust that I am the source? So in that moment, again, I had to like, okay, Latonia, World, whoever's listening, I kid you not, my God, my Lord, my daddy has not failed me since July 2020. I have not needed for anything. I took a whole year and a little bit more from July 2020 to 2021. I focused on me. I started to focus on passion projects, finding my purpose, sitting at God's feet, and what do you want me to do? So for me, I'm at a point in life where not that money's not important. Oh, money's very important because I got things I need to do that I need money for. But chasing a title, chasing a career, been there, done that. And it was unfruitful because it left me in a depressed place. It left me where I was in a place of constantly trying to reconfigure who I was so I can fit in their shoe to the point where I lost my voice. I did not know who I was anymore. Being the only black person on the team, the youngest person. So I'm not only am in a male dominated industry, um, I'm in a the company was over 100. Well, by now they're like 120-ish years old, so they were a 100-year-old company. So imagine, and it was a family company, so everyone that worked there was pretty seasoned. And it's one of those oh, you knew where I worked. It's one of those companies where you go, you stay, you die, or you retire there. No, for real. My old boss was there the year I was born. She left in 2018. She was there for 30 plus years.
Wow.
Yes, I was there for almost 20 years. If that gives you, it's just one of those companies. I mean, it's changed a lot. And I even actually reached out to a friend today, an old friend that I'm like, he just came in my spirit. He's like, girl, we just went through another reorg. They laid everybody off, but they kept me. I'm like, yep, you're the slave that keeps doing everything that they ask you. And I bet you they cut your pay too. But that's a conversation for another time. Yeah. Me neither. So I said all that to say that in trusting God, He has not failed me, not one single bit. And part of this realization would not have been so had I not written things down, journaled it, and then go back now and looking at it and be like, whoa, even in my business with, I don't want to go too much into all of that because that's not what this conversation is about, but like in my professional life and business, what I'm looking to do, as I was saying, like when the day that like I got that okay, it's like, all right, the plan. So like I need to make a plan. When I tell you, I was just writing. When I go back, so I met with a coach last week, in talking to her to like kind of help me scale things. She was like, "You did all that? What?" And it was in that moment that, and after talking to her, and I look back and I heard what she's telling me, I'm like, wow, they really chopped me up and they were like ready to feed me to the cats. But beyond that, and I go back in my journal, Latonia, everything that she was telling me, the Lord had already told me. I had already written all of this down, the structure. Like, when I tell you, I was just like, no. And and the second she said, and I did, and I was a little anxious. I'm like, oh my God, it's March. I wanted things to be a little bit more. Why am I not there? The peace that I felt, I'm like, I'm exactly where I need to be. So journaling. How does one start if they don't know how to, or break it down? Because I think too, a lot of times when people talk about journaling and journal prompts, and they make it this activity, they romanticize it. It makes it almost not accessible to a lot of people. Where would one start, or how break it down to in layman's terms, or like in the simplest form of it? Like if someone wanted to get started today and they're like, it seems daunting to them because of like what it's, well, I guess everything is overexposed and oversaturated and over everything in these days. But
I'm going to simplify this right now with one question.
Go ahead.
How are you today? How are you? How was your day?
There you go.
No, tell me. How was it?
Oh, to me tell you. Okay. Ooh. Girl, my day has been it's been a long day.
Sit down. There's your first journaling prompt and just see where it goes.
Okay. Oh, that's perfect. I was like getting ready to tell you, like,
Exactly.
you don't know my day, but you're saying it's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that.
Unload your thoughts.
People think of journaling as something that is perfect or has some rule book. There is no rule book. The best thing I can say is learn to just express yourself. And the easiest way to put it is what everybody usually asks. The first thing when somebody contacts you, if they have any type of care for you, is usually like, how are you?
Yeah.
But so often in life, we don't ask ourselves these questions, and you wonder why mental health is running rampant around here. Nobody knows how they feel. No one knows how their day has been. No one has expressed it or let it out. So we're holding on to all these things, not knowing how to express ourselves.
Yeah.
So the simplest thing is check in with yourself. If you don't know nothing else to say or nothing else to write, you know how you're feeling today. You know how you're feeling right now. You will always have an answer. And if you don't have an answer, that's your answer. I don't know. I don't know how I'm feeling right now. Yeah. I don't know what's going on in life. I don't know what I'm going to do. Just pray.
Yeah. And that's the other thing that I do too. Oftentimes, like I found that I was writing out prayers. There was seasons in my life where, and even now, like I feel like I'm more of a writer in general. Like I like to write things and like keep track of things, or whether it's typing or manual. But I actually prefer manual writing. There's something about the turning of the page, even reading. I'm old school girl. I'm old school.
That's as simple as it needs to be. Journaling is just what you need it to be at that moment. That you can talk to. It's God's, quick path, instant access to God. You just can't pray and you're distracted. Sometimes I can't pray, I'm distracted. I'm asleep. Honestly. I sometimes will just write to just get out if I'm stressed. I just use it to vent. Now, if you want to use journaling to be intentional about something, reach a goal, unlock something, heal.
Buddy, I'm sorry.
You can start to tailor what journaling is for you. Just
keep it down a little.
Space that's more specific for you to achieve a certain goal through journaling if you want to be more intentional about it. And that's where prompts and things like that come in. Like maybe you're saying, I just want to learn journaling. I don't know how to express myself. Then that's where prompts and things come in to kind of help you
stir up your thoughts. Buddy, please.
Yeah. How you practice.
Please do not play with that Jenga right now. Then go play with it on the rug. It's going to make a lot of noise on the table. Please. That's all I'm asking you. Sorry.
That little guy.
That Jenga's he's like the Jenga master, but he's playing it on not only that, it's on a glass table. So I'm like, oh my God, my glass table is gonna, I had to put mats down yesterday, but now I can't pay attention. So I'm like, the Jenga blocks, I'm not gonna have a table by the end of this conversation. But anyway, it's all good.
I feel you. I know what you mean.
So I talk aloud all the time to myself as well, and I feel that I need to restrict publicly or grab my phone. As long as you're not talking to yourself and then responding in third person or something, I think you're good. I talk to myself all the time. Again, I don't know if I've told you guys this before, but my life, I feel like my life is a big musical. There's always a tune playing in my head. And it sometimes when I see people, certain tunes will come. It's almost like you're walking into your own 15-second reel in my stories, the stories I tell myself. Look, I never said I was normal. I'm weird. I know. I'm an acquired taste. But anywho, But this whole writing, we could it even has biblical principles to it. Is it Habakkuk? Write it down and make it plain. Write your visions down. So let's talk about vision board. That's what it was. It was a vision board party. So if somehow, because you do an amazing job. You do retreats. Let's talk about the vision board and like tell me about some of your retreats and how or what kind of workshops you do there. Do you have one coming up? You need one coming up because I want to join. There was another person who told me about your retreat, Dima. She told me about your retreat, and I'm like, oh, I want to go.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And then you have people author books too.
Yeah.
But let's talk about vision board, and then we'll talk about authoring and retreats and what you got coming up.
Let's expand on what life has been like.
Life notes 24/7, yes.
You yourself, you know, both of us here and many of you guys listening, you know, we have learned how to turn our pain into purpose. And I almost say like we haven't, I don't even say we learned how to turn our pain into purpose, that God worked our purpose through us. It was always there. It was there the moment your son was born. It was there the moment rejection entered my life. My purpose was already there. It was already part of the plan. And all we have done is we became obedient to walking in it, surrendering to it, and saying, God, what do you want me to do with this? I can't fight it anymore. In order for me to be all of me, this is what my purpose looks like. The moment you surrender, the moment you say, what is it, God, that
the peace.
I am going to do?
Yeah.
That's where your purpose shows up. That is where you start living your life. Really life to the fullest. So true, so true. Because even in Rome, not to like be like, oh, this isn't church, and I'm not church. You know, I love the Lord. I know some things. I'm not going to even say, oh, I'm not churchy. I'm not this. I love the Lord. But in Romans, it's like we've all been predestined. So predestined means like our path is already kind of set up for us. We're just walking. We're just taking the steps. And when we're doing it obedience, we can either walk towards purpose or veer off completely off the path. Yes. But anywho, so that was vision board. Or did we talk vision board? I was gonna say that. But I kind of veered off right now talking about how we got to here. Oh yeah. Okay. So I interjected. Sorry, I ad-libbed and lost myself. You are walking into this season of your life when you are now being a light to others in this way that God has allowed you to do from your point of view, from the shoes you're walking in. And then how I have ended up here, because I say it all the time, like my mom would never send me to business school if I was going to be journaling and start something. You know what I mean? Like I did not plan this. I did it. I couldn't have come up with this for a million years. However, business school has served its purpose in journaling. It's come full circle. Well, of course not. I mean, that's the whole, especially the expectations part. But I say it to say because a lot of times people will say they don't know their purpose or they don't know how to walk in their purpose or how to bring it to life. And sometimes it's already there, but a lot of times you may be too afraid or something is preventing you from walking in it. So when I think about like vision boards and all that type of things, it's a part of the journey. It's a part of the program that I run. So like when I had the event that you came to, it's like the pulling out of one page of that program. The pulling out of what is the vision. It's the moment of surrender. The moment you're like tired of fighting. And you're like, okay, what is it going to be? That first step is the vision.
sorry. Give me one second.
Yeah, okay.
SJ, please.
Mr. Herman, he's like, I'm playing this game. I'm gonna get this Jenga game going.
Go ahead. Do you know what he told me earlier? I was bribed this afternoon. Part of the reason I'm like, this is why things are not going right, because I was unprepared. So I go to pick him up from school, right? Then he tells me he wants to go jump, and I'm like, I can't, buddy. I literally have like a couple of hours to do. So I pick him up at 3:15. I have a couple of hours to do to finish some work that I needed to do. I'm going to try to squeeze in folding some laundry. I have a meeting at 6 from 6 to 7:30, and then this live at 7:30. I hate your meetings. Your meetings take too long. So how about you just take me jumping before your meeting? So then he made me feel bad because I'm like, oh, I guess I haven't been, giving him as much time lately. Girl, I take him jumping. We get there at 3:40. Do you know what time I left there? 6:30. Luckily, the board meeting got pushed back to 6:30, so I ended up leaving just before taking it in the car, hurrying to get home to do all the. Yeah, it's been. How's my day? That's been my day. I got bribed by a 7-year-old, and it completely derailed my day. But anywho, that's how we're doing. So he's that's a little struggle pull. That's a little, but we're gonna be good. We're live. But anyway, I digress. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, now I see why you kind of like, dude, you need to stop. You had your moment today. You had me at the jumping. Oh my goodness.
It's been a day. But these are candid conversations. Use the blue one in the back.
Oh my gosh.
But anywho, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Motherhood comes in, right?
Yeah.
That's the motherhood side of the journey comes in. Juggling life as a parent, trying to run these businesses.
Apparently, other people's kids are bribing them too. Kamisha. And I used to say, I will not negotiate with a 4-year-old terrorist. I will not negotiate with a terrorist. Sometimes I'm like, well, other times it's just easier just to give in. I'm like, look. Is it loud for you guys? Maybe it's just for me. And not only that, I sometimes, but I'm trying not to, or else this will never get done if I'm like looking for it to get done at a perfect time for the house to be clean, the house to be quiet. There's no such thing. I'm trying to like live in the moment and just be obedient to the call. If today's what it is, and I'm showing up for it. So today it calls for Jenga in the back. I'm hoping it doesn't disturb the rest of you. Is it loud for you? Okay, perfect. Then go on. Then I'll let him do his thing. I won't tell him.
Yeah, I see. Motherhood is never ending. Yes.
That part.
Yes.
That part.
And the mother ring from our mom.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I wish that would end sometimes.
Never.
Never ending.
And then I got this one tell me he's gonna tell my mom. I'm gonna tell your mom on you. I'm like, who are you? He's something else. He is something else. The words that comes out of his mouth, I've been like, interesting. Very well developed vocabulary for a 7-year-old. Like, but anywho.
Someone say, don't even go there. We're not gonna go there.
Well, I can't wait for our conversation. That's gonna be a real juicy one, especially if all the kids come on.
Yeah, oh my god.
So.
But that's what this journey has been like for me. And so over the years, I like how Dima said it when I was joining on a you guys conversation last week, and just she kind of like almost reminded me myself where I've become somewhat of a spiritual doula, and I think about our relationship, and I would say the same for us. It's been kind of like a spiritual sisterhood.
Yeah.
Where we have somehow spiritually had similar journeys over the years that have kept us connected.
Absolutely.
And because of my journey and wanting to be an advocate for mental health, wanting to show people how journaling can be used as a tool to help transform their life, and just using my own skill set and background as a strategist, knowing how to connect the dots to get from point A to point B, it has just become what luxury life is now, where I am literally a spiritual doula.
And I love that name.
Launch their dreams.
Yeah.
And it's what I get to do each and every day. You know, I don't like to see people feel stuck or not know what to do or feel like they're hopeless, how I was.
Yeah.
I'm not about to let someone else die to depression or suicide. I'm just done with that.
That part.
So my life has literally become
the billboard.
My life is here to save others' lives.
Yeah.
So I don't even care sometimes what it looks like or what it feels like. People be like, no, you're that strong mama, you gave it to me. So sometimes I'll give it to people so straight, and they'll be like, no one has ever said that to me like that, but I needed it.
But you say it in the sweetest way. Even though it's harsh, it's in the sweetest of ways. It's just like you're talking now. You're just a little stern, like, but you keep the foot on the pedal, which is one of the other things that I absolutely adore about you, is the accountability. You keep these ladies, or us ladies, like group, like we keep you keep us accountable. Like you stay like you, again, keep your foot on the gas, which I think is so important, especially in mentorship. So important in mentorship.
Yeah, because it gets hard. A lot of us ladies are so ambitious, and we have goals, we have dreams, we have families too. And it gets hard. Sometimes you need someone to lean on. And I would speak for the men too here. I'm not working with men yet, but it's coming.
Yeah, and I think I saw her. Did I see Herkins in here?
Is Herkins here? Okay.
Herkins is her husband, who's an amazing. So they're like, so let me tell you guys about them real quick. Remember what you were gonna say, because I'm gonna say something real quick. I thought I saw HML imprints. That name is imprinted in my head. So let me tell you how he might have left. But so Latonia and her husband, they've been creatives and creators before there were actually words and title and these titles with those names. So as I mentioned to you guys earlier, I've known Latonia since we were in our early 20s, and we've been like little babes in Christ, and they've been married that long. And in my career, one of the people that again, because I don't like gatekeeping, if wherever I'm going, I'm trying to bring the people that I know. So he owns an amazing company, HML Imprints, and they did, so I managed all of the sponsorships for the company that I worked for. And one of the new sponsors that I had acquired was one of the largest, the second largest road race here in Massachusetts is the Falmouth Road Race. And the prices that I was getting from other places were a bit ridiculous just because of the name of the company. Okay, I did see him in there earlier. Because of the name of the company that we work with. But her husband, Herkins, he owns a printing company, and he was just always such an amazing person to work with. And I just absolutely adored with him. Like, he was just so accommodating. And so that partnership lasted a little bit until and then everyone loved the shirt. So we always had the best team shirts in this road race, and this is like 10,000 plus people. Have you ever been or done the Falmouth Road Race?
I've seen the shirts.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you bet. I know you've seen the shirts. Oh yeah, that highlighter yellow.
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember seeing the shirt sometime.
Yeah,
Yep.
but no, he's a great graphic designer. He's a great
Yeah.
photographer. So you guys, between the two of them, they really have a magnificent union, and
Now
they
he's
do
a great
amazing things together.
contractor.
Pardon?
General contractor.
Pardon?
I said now he is a great general contractor.
There you go. He's had great practice.
Yes.
Yeah, because you guys have done improvements in your house, like that you've done with your own hands. You guys do it all. But anyway, I thought I saw, as you mentioned marriage, I thought, oh, there he is. He said thank you. Yay! I knew I saw him in there. Yeah, they're amazing. They're amazing. That's why I say that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so you were saying, I told you to stick a pin in there because you mentioned husband, and I'm like, wait, I think I saw HML imprints because I recognize that plate, that name from anywhere from past experience.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I didn't even see her kids in there. But yeah, oh my gosh. I mean, we can just go on for days. I think what I was saying, turning your passion into purpose, but no, how it has led me to just being a spiritual doula for people being able to walk in their purpose and turn their pain into power and just reach life goals.
Yeah.
Take people out of a dark time and show them what it looks like to live in the light.
That's awesome.
A lot of people come to me, and I'll say this for you too, Elsa. You know, a lot of people will come to me. As a matter of fact, I have another speaking, not an engagement, but an event that's coming up for a woman who has just been diagnosed with MS. And she was saying, you know, I really wanted to come because everything that I've been finding out, or groups that I'm in, or people that I talk to, is so depressing out there. I need something that's gonna bring hope.
Hope. People need hope.
Encouraging, and you always are that person. I need people to have more joy and hope and things like that. And I feel like that's what it is. That's what it is.
Yes.
That's what we all need in these spaces. We just need someone to talk to, someone who can show you what hope and light looks like. And because God showed me, I'm going to make sure every day of my life I can give that light to others.
Amen.
Look, I literally have my core values on my office wall. Every day I look and I see my core values. And it's to see my family happy. Why? Because at the beginning of this call, what did I say?
That's the day that you found joy, that you discovered you hadn't been joyful in years. Amen. And it has to be number one. I love that. Read the rest of them because I want to hear them.
You may not be able to have the same medicine as everybody else. So part of this personal development journey is getting to know what works for you and taking your own medicine.
Yeah.
When you understand what it is. And so seeing my family happy, being a business owner, that is something I've always wanted. I didn't always know what it was going to be, but I knew I always wanted to be a business owner.
Do you know I had that same epiphany 2 years ago? I remembered a day in sophomore year in college. We were in high school, either sophomore or freshman. I was asked what I wanted to be. I'm like, I'm never going to work for nobody. I'm going to be the CEO. Girl, I want to work for corporate. Never thought about it. Never thought I never wanted to work for myself until I had to. Here I am as the CEO that I did not want to be.
And you're doing it.
Yeah. Well, I guess that I did want to be, but then life kind of jaded you, and then that's exactly what it is. Because you know what, those years of innocence where you haven't lived enough for life to hurt you in ways that you want to retreat, right? Sorry, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's true though. And so what was I going to say?
The rest of your core values.
One of my last one is share joy with others.
Love that.
And so when I feel myself depleted or feel myself in those moments of discouragement, I always turn back to those values.
Amen.
And that's what keeps me motivated. That's what keeps me going. And so I try to do that for others. Show them what their light is. Show them what their values are. And just try to keep that light going for
That's
others.
amazing.
And so that's it.
Yeah. And then you've kind of expanded that a little bit, where Let's Write Life started as a space for women, for you to encourage women, but you recently launched a subsidiary, I guess, of Let's Write Life, where you're focused on helping couples and Let's Write Marriage.
Let's Write Love Marriage.
I love it.
Yes.
Could you give him food? Can you please? Sorry, just a slice. Thanks. So yeah, let's talk about that. Like, what was, obviously the inspiration is marriage, but like, what at what point did you realize you wanted to expand it beyond just feeding women?
Yeah, on the women, yeah. So when I got back up and running 2021, I said, I'm going to focus on women. I had been going back and forth with this because before COVID, it was like we were just going through life. Life was just going. There was no halt. There wasn't no stop. So when I returned to work, I decided I'm going to focus on women. So I stopped working with colleges and teens. All of those areas of the business, I stopped and I focused on women. So from 2021 to 2022, I was able to really work closely with women. One of the things that I realized that empowers women or depletes women severely are their relationships. And I had never had to work with women around their relationships until last year. And then one of my own family members had a situation with their relationship, and it was like God was like, no, you're gonna do it, because I really didn't want to be in the middle of this situation. And because of how things really panned out as me coming in as a mediator, I said, you know what, I want to be able to do this for my marriages. So every relationship has their rocky points. And sometimes you don't know how to get out of it, how to work through it. The tools are not there. The therapy list is too long. You're on a wait list. I don't know. The help is not always there. And so because I was able to come in as a mediator using my HR background,
Comes back full circle.
managing conflict in the workplace, I knew how to communicate and mediate, conversations in marriages. And so I said, you know what? I know that in order for this woman to be the best of who she is, we need to work on this marriage. That's making her feel less than. And that's really kind of what started Let's Write Love Marriages. So what I just do there is just mediation. Just helping couples communicate, come to some type of closure or solution to be able to save marriages. I'm here to save lives, y'all. That's what I'm here to do.
Yeah, you provide hope.
Marriages, save relationships, save everything.
Yeah, you're here to give hope in affliction.
Yes.
See what I did there? See what I did? But it's true. Because for me, it was like the hope and affliction. All it is those things that pain you, the hurts in life that can get you to the point where you feel hopeless. I mean, I've certainly been there. And hopelessness, like you said, is probably, I mean, like, don't quote me, like, I'm not saying this from like a medical standpoint, like maybe more from a spiritual and from a perspective from someone looking out. I feel like hopelessness is the number one cause of depression and suicide. Not just depression, but depression and suicide. And I think I don't know if we had this discussion, but or maybe over a post. I think we talked about a post, but was it last year with Chelsea Chrisley, the
Yeah.
model, the very successful entertainment news young lady who committed suicide. But even more recently,
Twitch.
like these are serious conversations. And I'm so happy that mental health is being talked about more, and there's less hesitancy to share. But yeah, it's more people need to know that just hold on until tomorrow. Just live for the next moment. Don't even try to like look for years to come. And I guess and I'll be very candid here, and I shared this with you.
I love this comment, YSSR. Yeah. Some don't realize the help they needed until they got it. Yeah.
Yes, so true. That is very, very true.
It's so true.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't even realize, yeah, like he said it best. You don't realize what you need until you after you've had it. And what I was gonna say is that I don't know. I've never. I guess in some ways, if you think about depression in like by definition, if I look back, I'm like, all right, I guess I suffered from, I had a little anxiety or little things like that. Even even in my job, in my career, like the last 5 years or so, even just before SJ, I became a sweater. Or like after 35, like in my mid 30s, I became a sweater. I thought I was a sweater. In the last 2 years, since I left that job, girl, I don't sweat like that. Do you know all that time? It was anxiety. And it would especially happen in the mornings, or if I had a big presentation. I don't like people like that. I don't like I can go, I'm a behind the scenes person, but I realized it was anxiety, just like nerves of like feeling like I have to overperform or be this or be that. And it was working my nerves. Girl, I don't even sweat no more. I mean, unless it's hot out, unless I'm overexerting myself. But and then what I was gonna say is that so in 2021, like I've never had like these issues where, but in 2021, like life was just from 2020, just things just started to unhinge. And by last no, this last year was 2022. 2021, by June, I had fallen into a deep depression. Just there was family breakdown, there was a lot of mistrust, a lot of people, there was betrayal, family, friends. There's just things that people that I never expected not to be in my life all of a sudden was just like just abruptly with no warning. And it was just hard. Breakdown of a relationship. So by June, between working and going through all this space and hearing, because then it was like it had been like a full year where I started to talk to other warriors and mom, and hearing how much they were mistreated, all of the bad things that happened, and then compound that with death, loss of friendships, betrayal by family, all of that. By June, when the last thing that happened, that I'm like, Lord, I was not expecting this. Again, I found myself in a deep little funk. Yeah, Latonia. It was months, and I disconnected. By October, it got to a point like I was in so much, like it was just hurtful. I feel like every time you get over one thing, something else would happen. You get over one hurt, somebody else would hurt you, and then you get over one thing, you find out something else, and it was just like, I'm done. I'm done. My heart was so in so much pain, so much pain. Like it almost felt tender if I touched the skin. That I got to a point of like, wow, I've never considered suicide, but I got to a point where I knew, I had a feeling what it felt like to be in that space where you just don't know what else is coming, when it's going to come, how it's
Yeah.
going to come, or how you're going to get out of it. And it's like, if I have to keep hurting for this long, for as long as I'm hurting, again, not saying that, not that I thought about taking it, but I understood what that
Yeah.
pain felt like, what that hopelessness of not knowing,
The
when will my
hopeless.
heart feel better. Didn't feel like eating, didn't feel like sleeping, didn't feel like nothing tasted right. There was no joy. If it wasn't because of the kids, like you just like, you kind of try not to let the kids see you in a funk, but I get it. I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So the
That.
need for hope is important.
Yeah. You were there, girl. That space that's just dark, empty, and you don't know how you're gonna get yourself out of it. And then your voice, those negative thoughts just start to make you feel stuck. The depression is like darkness where all hope is gone. It's like the depression sucks all light out. Sucks all the light out. It makes you not see the light, even if it's there.
Yeah.
And when you have anxiety, it's playing your thoughts on repeat. It's the worst combination. And when you're in that cycle, that's where it really gets scary. And that's how I knew it was God. God gave me that pen, and I felt like that pen was the light out of darkness. Like I literally wrote my way out of there. Because I didn't know how I was going to get out of there. And so what you're saying is like spot on. It's where all hope is gone. Because some people are like, how do you know you're at rock bottom? How do you know that you're at the end of this thing, so that it can help them maybe know where the triggers are, know where to start to ask for help, know where to reach out, know where you need to start to say, no, I'm beyond where I can help or encourage myself. That's that place where there's no more hope, and you start to no longer see that your life is worth living, that no one can help you, no one cares about you. Start saying these things to yourself. That's when you know that hope is just gone, and it's time to ask for help. It's time to just pick up that pen and write and say, I want to save my life. I want out of here. Whatever it is that you need to do to get yourself out of that situation. In 2020, I knew I had struggled with postpartum depression before. And I said, I'm going to make sure I have a postpartum doula. So that if I am at a place with this new child and I don't know how I'm doing, I can't, hold space for myself, I want to make sure there's someone there to make sure I'm good.
So you were
from your husband. They don't not understand. So I made sure I had like a postpartum doula, separate from my doula that brought the baby into the world, and unfortunately she didn't make it to the car, so that really didn't work out. She just met me at the hospital.
Yeah.
But I had a whole separate person after the baby was born to take care of me and to help me take care of the baby. And thank God, so I knew I needed that. Because COVID happened and there was no support.
Yeah.
There was no one who could come in my house. There was no going to the doctors. There was nothing.
Yeah.
But thankfully I had that person checking in on me. So if you find yourself in a place in life, and I can understand and resonate with what you're saying also, because in 2020, I felt like everybody was gone. My sister moved out of the state. I felt like all my close friends moved out the state. And the friends I did have a relationship.
Tiara left? Tiara?
Yes. She lives in Atlanta now.
I didn't. Well, I wouldn't, but wow.
She's been there since 2020, yeah.
Oh, wow. Anywho, sorry. Little ad-libs.
People here. So, but yeah, it was a big turning point in my life where I felt that darkness coming back because everything had changed and I felt really alone. And I had to rebuild my life. Like at the end of 2020, going into 2021, I said, okay, look, Latonia, you had enough time. You had enough time. You had enough time. It's time to rebuild your life. What are you going to do about it? And I did it.
Amen.
I got up and I figured it out. And I said, this is what my life is going to be. I need to make new friends.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you saying, it's like you have to decide what it is that you want. Oh, I got the 20%, the 20% warning. It'll give me a 10, and then at 10, I'll really have to like be focused. But I got the 20%, and I made sure it was at least mostly charged.
I think we covered a lot here tonight.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, we're gonna land this plane. But I wanted you to touch on what was I gonna say? If no, I lost that. I lost that little birdie. But essentially, I know. So essentially, you were saying like identify where it is that you want to go. Period. Like I don't like it. I don't like whatever. Say I don't like the yellow today. Tomorrow, it's not going to be yellow. I have to. This is what I have to like. What and then what? Like in your experience, like what's the next step for someone who's listening right now and they're like, yeah, I'm at that place. I don't know, and I don't want it to be so, but I'm not sure how to get there.
Yeah. The best thing, well, we've been talking around it, talking through it, and including it in this conversation the whole time, and that is